This is my life with albinism.
Now, this is my life with albinism.
And this is my life with albinism.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Life with Albinism podcast. As usual, we have our wonderful co-host, Maya Warren.
Hey, guys.
Okay, and today we have a special guest with us. We're going to let her introduce herself. So tell the people your name, your social medias, where they can find you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie. You can find me on Instagram, Miss Pumpkin Pie. That's my dog's name. And it's pie like P-I, like the number. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, so now, right before we get into the topic here, Maya, you've actually been doing some really good work out here in the albinism community. So go ahead and tell people about the new venture you've done with Noah.
So earlier, I want to say about 2 months ago, maybe, I got the usual email that they send out to all the members, and they were like, "Hey, submit something for the fall issue," and I was like, okay, I'll figure something out. So I wrote a piece about graduating college with albinism and basically taking advocacy to another level while there and after graduating. And to my surprise, I knew the article was going to be posted. I did not know that I was going to be on the cover. That was a very pleasant and honor-filled surprise for me.
Wow! So
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you feel seeing yourself on the cover of a magazine? Was it a physical magazine as well, or just digital because of all this COVID crap and it being 2021 now?
Well, the way it works with Noah is you can buy, there's different types of subscriptions to the Albinism Insight magazine. So you can get an all electronic copy where they just email you the copy when it releases, or you can get an all physical copy, or you can get a combination of both. And they're all different prices. I got the digital copy, but they sent me a contributor physical copy as well in the mail.
Wow. You're getting a physical copy of it. I think that's wonderful, and I was so happy to see you on there. I had to be bragging like, that's my co-host, right?
Yeah, I saw that. It was actually my second time being published in Albinism Insight. The first time was back in high school.
Oh, word? Okay.
Yeah. Hey. This is my first time being on the cover. That was a physical copy. I wasn't on the cover. This is my first time being on the cover, but
okay.
I'm just honored to be published either way.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm interested in this. So today we have our first Caucasian with albinism. I don't even know why I haven't taken the time to find one, because believe it or not, we done did like 26, 27 episodes, and every single individual was either African-American with albinism or Hispanic with albinism. This is the first time we have a white person with albinism, and I have some questions because of that. So question number one,
bring it on.
How does albinism really affect your life if you are white? Because you are already the complexion you are, let's say, expected to be. So how does this really play a factor in your life? Please explain.
I was kind of expecting that question. Let's see, how do I put it? I really feel like I have experienced a lot, not all, but a lot of the same experiences as a lot of the guests and you all, like being bullied or being like, just being different. Because even though, yes, I am white, I'm still different. I still don't all the white people are tanning.
Well, see, I need you to get a little more in depth, right? Because
Well,
I'm looking at you right now, and you do not look the least bit you don't look the least bit weird or different, or you look very normal, you know. So please,
yeah.
please just
So
get in depth.
okay, well, I grew up in Florida.
Okay.
I don't live there now, but I grew up in Florida, and the culture in Florida is sun, heat, beach, boat. And so I constantly, since I was a little kid, people were constantly like trying to put sunscreen on me all the time, like strangers, or giving me hats just like out of nowhere. And
Because you're
it was,
turning red, I'm assuming.
yeah, or
Okay.
of course my family would take care of me, you know, when I was a kid. But no one in my family has albinism. So they love to go to the beach. They like, I hate the beach.
Right.
So I mean, that's the cultures that they lay out and tan, and or if I want to have fun at the beach, if I have to, all this attention is on me, right? Like I'm the one wearing a long sleeve shirt and I have to be under the umbrella. I can't participate in, you know, throwing the frisbee, or, you know, like, even though, yeah, I guess I'm white, but growing up in Florida, the whole culture scene is going to the beach and being tan all the time.
Okay, so all right, so I think I'm putting together the puzzle pieces now. So pretty much what you're saying is a lot of your bullying and the things that you've went through was simply because you grew up in a very hot climate, a very hot area, in which going outside and being out in the sun all day and going to the beach and tanning in the sun was the norm. And being that you couldn't do those things, at that point, people realized, okay, you are something different. What's wrong with you? Everybody's out here on the beach under the sun having fun, and you're in long sleeves, or you're not there, or you don't want to be there for long periods of time.
Yeah, I would say that is more like more as I got older. Like when I was a kid, I mean, I didn't wear like makeup and stuff. So I have the white eyebrows and the white eyelashes and stuff. I mean, I stand out like a sore thumb, you
Okay,
know.
so
in
you
my
dyed
class.
your eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do have the blonde hair, the blonde eyebrows, and things.
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so even though you're white, they still, you know,
Oh yeah,
I guess.
like when I was a kid, I stand out like a sore thumb. They still, even the white kids, like, you know, they would call me names, and like they still.
What would they call, you know,
All the same
I would
names.
like to apologize for my level of like interest in this and my level of shock. But
Yeah.
I, you know, like I said, I've never met a white person with albinism. So what are these jokes like? You know what I'm saying? Because for me, the jokes were a lot easier for me because I clearly look like a black man in terms of my features, right? So it was
Yeah.
easy to call me something like, let's say people would call me like bleach, things like that, where obviously, you know, bleach is known to take something with color and make it white. So
Yeah.
things like that were just easy to flip. What are they calling
Honestly,
you?
all the same names. I got like bleach, I got ghost, I got, man, even just being called albino, and like that is like another piece of like, I would say most of my life is a lack of experience of being albino. No one in my family really told me. So I think the whole time I just felt like like a freak. I didn't know that I had this condition. I didn't know what I looked like related to, I just thought I had bad vision, right?
Okay, so who eventually told, like, when did they eventually tell you you have albinism?
I think the earliest time I remember, I must have been like 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
You lived 12 years with your family essentially holding the fact that you were albino as a secret almost.
Yeah.
And then there was no way for you to really know it, because if you didn't know what it
Yeah.
was, you would just think, hey, you know, I'm white, whatever.
Yeah, like, I mean, they say, you know, when I would be upset from the kids being mean, they'd say, oh no, like God made you special. You're just have blonde hair. You just, he made you special. You just tell them that you're special.
Wow.
Like, no one said I had this condition until my grandmother told me. And I still didn't really understand. Like, I didn't even realize, like, I mean, I don't mean to be like, I don't know what the word is, but like, all I knew about albinism is like animals had albinism. Like, I didn't know, you know, I didn't know. I just thought I had bad eyes. And then it still wasn't really addressed. Almost like pretty much till, I don't really know, till maybe I went to the eye doctor on my own, like when I was 18.
Okay. And then you go to the eye doctor and you're like, doctor, what's wrong with me? Like, tell me what's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, I had been to eye doctors, but the eye doctor didn't say, you have this condition because of albinism, right? No one like actually put the two together for me. And I was like, oh, you know? So, and then wasn't until recently, like a couple of years, I found your podcast. I started just, you know, with the rise of social media and stuff in the past 10 years, like I just started following people. I mean, just Googling pictures, I was like, oh my God, like
it's a whole world of this out here.
Other people that look like me, like that have white eyebrows. And I mean, I know I'm white, but like, man, everything y'all say on this podcast, I just want to say shout out to all you guys. Thank you so much. It's like helped me so much. Just being able to relate to your stories, and it's just really great.
So tell me, how did you come across my podcast in the first place?
I think I just went to YouTube and like typed in albinism. And I had watched, you released your first episode a while ago, a long time ago. And I had watched it and then forgot about it. And then you started picking it back up. And so it came up in my feed. I'm like, oh, you know, and so I started watching, and then I got onto the podcast, like binge. I love podcasts. So I found some other ones, and it's been great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Now go ahead, Maya. Did you have any questions for her? Because I feel like I got a little excited.
Well,
I've been dominating this whole thing.
It's okay. This isn't my first interaction with someone who's white and has albinism. I've had a couple friends, and they've said pretty much the same things that you're saying. Like, obviously there's going to be cultural differences, but in terms of like the commonality of having albinism, like there are a lot of things that we share regardless of whatever background we come from. And I think this podcast and others and finding community has been really helpful for even me. Like, I didn't have social media until maybe 2019. And as soon as I got on there, the first thing I did was look up albinism, because I was like, look, I need to know where my people at, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was like this entire world opened up to me on another level. So I definitely can corroborate your experience.
Yeah, I didn't even know that there's a magazine. I didn't even know that. I'm definitely gonna look that up and subscribe to it. That's so cool.
Yeah, so what that is that's NOAA. So it's National Organization for Albinism and Hyperpigmentation, which, as you know, is like the cousin to albinism.
Right.
And that is an entire they're not just a magazine, that's an entire organization. As a kid, I was actually a part of NOAA. I was one of the members of NOAA as a kid. My mom was on it, you know, as soon as I was born, and they help with a lot of different things, like different programs, different supplies that you may need for like school. They help you with a lot of stuff. They buy glasses. They have tons of events. Since COVID they've stopped it, but they used to have like a yearly event where it would just be
It's
nothing but people
next
with
year.
albinism. Oh, they're
It's gonna be
starting it
next
again this year.
It's gonna be next year in 2022 in Orlando, Florida. And I think the hotel is like either a Disney resort hotel or close to the Disney hotel resort.
And listen, I'm gonna definitely go, man. I'm gonna definitely go.
I recently found out like about Noah. I think maybe someone had told me about Noah because it when like when I was a kid or a teenager, but I was like I didn't understand because I still didn't identify as being albinism, having albinism. So but I found out about the what is it, a retreat or a conference? I found out about it.
Yeah, that's Noah. The retreat conference, that's Noah.
Yeah, I plan on going the next year. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And
Ooh.
I know, I'm excited, but I'm also super nervous. I mean, this is just right here. This is a little emotional. Like I've never met anyone or interacted with anyone else like with albinism, and I don't know what.
Wait, you've never met another person with albinism?
No, never.
Wow.
No, I just like I'm pretty sure I'm going to be emotional when I walk in there and see everybody. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh,
Where do you live now, if you don't mind me asking?
I live in Atlanta.
Oh wow.
And walking around Atlanta, you've never came across one other person with albinism?
No, and I know because I follow several people on social media that live literally in the same neighborhood, like in the same neighborhood, like the pocket area of Atlanta. Yeah. And we just never run into each other. I've never seen anybody.
Wow.
And I don't know, like if I saw someone, I don't know if, I'd be like you, Dale, and like walk up to them, or if I might freak out. I don't know.
Oh, listen, ever since I've started this podcast, the way I approach somebody with albinism is quite aggressive at this point. And what I mean by aggressive, I mean that I literally like I will run to catch up to them, and because usually when I meet somebody with albinism, it's in passing, right? So it's very rarely is it we're just sitting down beside each other. Usually it's like I'm walking to the train and they're walking to the train from the opposite direction or something. Then I have to kind of run and catch up to them. And then, I'm very excited. I'm happy to be like, hey, listen, I got an albinism podcast. And every time I've ever done that, I think only one. And it's like ever since I started this podcast, I started coming across albinos all the time. And I think only once did I come across somebody who was kind of like, I don't really want to be a part of your show type of thing. He didn't say that. He was just kind of like, oh, that's not my thing. I don't want to be on camera. And that was the first time I've gotten that. Usually when I do that, people are like, yo, I would love to come on to your show.
Yeah. But I mean, you have a purpose, like you promoting your show. Like, What would I say? Like, hi, I'm albino too. I don't know what I would say.
For sure, I would do that. Listen, even before
just be like, yeah.
Even before
I be like, hey, you want to be friends?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but even before the show, I would approach another person with albinism. Usually I started by asking, unless it's super, super obvious. And for me, I guess because I got bad vision, it has to be super obvious that a person has albinism. Like you got to have the fluffy white blonde hair. You got to have huge binocular glasses on. Then I know what time it is. But without those obvious signs, I might just be like, hey, weird question. Do you have albinism? And then usually they're like, yeah, I do. And then it's like, oh, okay. And then boom, the conversation gets started.
Yeah. So you probably wouldn't approach me.
Man, listen, I wouldn't even have guessed twice. You know what I'm saying? That you were something else. Like it wouldn't even have. You would have had to slap me in the face for me to know that you had albinism. So now another thing I wanted to speak to you about. So how has your confidence been with albinism throughout your life, and how is it now?
Well, definitely, I would say my confidence was pretty low through like my childhood and teenage years, and until maybe the past like 3 years, I really like started researching albinism and just seeking out more people, more contacts, more community. And that's given me more confidence. But yeah, I mean, just the words, I'm able to say albino without like being triggered.
So talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So the word albino used to trigger you. Explain that.
Yeah, because people would they would use it as like being insulting, like, oh, what are you, albino or something, And I would be like, well, I don't really know, like inside, I don't know what to say, and they would use it, to be mean to me. And so yeah, it's kind of triggering and brings up kind of bad memories. But
and you know what's so interesting about that is that you being white with albinism, and like you stated, up until about your teenage years, not knowing that you even had it, and then having people come to you and be like, hey, why can't you tan? What are you, albino or something?
Yeah.
I could see that being a malicious attack. I could see that being insulting because, for one, you don't even know that you have albinism at this point. Yeah. And then when you do find out, then it's like, oh, that's that word that everyone kept calling me every time I didn't want to be out in the sun with them. So now I can see how that can be triggering to you versus with somebody like me. I would never have thought it was insulting or a derogatory word towards me, because even if somebody used it to insult me, it was directed about the fact that I had albinism, and I know I had albinism. So then it was like, okay, whatever. So you could be like, oh, look at this albino guy or whatever. Yeah. It wouldn't matter. But for you, it really was triggering because you didn't even know you had it. And then you find out in your teenage years that you have it. So now that word just plays back into your mind every time you hear it again, from every time you were called it when you were growing up.
Yeah. And I still, even though I was told, like, I still didn't really identify with, I didn't really understand, what albinism was, or, or albino or whatever. So for a while, I was like super, I was like, I am a person with albinism, like it is something I have, which I really understand that. But I'm really trying to own that word, like you guys do. You're like, this is who I am, that's what I have.
And speaking of that, we're not going to get too in depth about this, because I'm going to make that a whole nother episode. But I've been dying to do an episode on that. But in order to do that, I need to get people to have opposing opinions. So I actually put out a status on Facebook not long ago, and the status was, who finds the word albino offensive? And as you can imagine, I instantly had about 300 comments, and people were people felt like I was attacking them by telling them you shouldn't be offended by this word. Yeah. And my whole thing.
So here's the thing.
I'm
going to say,
go ahead, Maya.
I saw the whole thing go down. I was just like looking at it because I knew by you posting that, I was like, woof, this is about to be good. So I saw that, and I understand where those people are coming from, because I was at a point where the word albino really triggered me. One, because I was bullied when people said it.
Yeah.
Not just by friends, but by ignorant family members, kids in the neighborhood. So it was very derogatory, especially when you're not being told what you have, why you have it, and what's going on. So I had to take it upon myself in middle school to do all the research and all that. So I get that. But I also understand that for me, it took self-acceptance, letting that go and just realizing, like, as an advocate, like, I don't want anything to hinder me from reaching people. And if I'm offended by something that they don't understand, then I'm less likely to connect with people and reach people when I'm trying to teach them about what albinism is. And for people who find it derogatory to this day, I recognize that some people have been through some very serious and traumatic experiences attached to the word albino. And I would never be like, you shouldn't feel this way. What I would say is like, it's helpful to be able to unpack that, whether through therapy or being able to talk to someone. Because if not, it can sprout up as some deep-rooted bitterness, self-hatred, all those things. But all in all, it's a journey of self-acceptance, and nobody's on that journey at the same pace or in the same lane.
Right.
You nailed it.
And Maya, I know that you have got to go. Would 6:25 be all right, or you got to go before then?
Yeah.
6:25 is all right?
6:25 is good.
All right, so we got about 4 minutes, and I'm so mad. We might have to do a part 2 next week because I'm really enjoying this episode. But okay, so now to just piggyback off of what you was quickly saying, Maya, about the word albino. So my whole thing wasn't even so much of you should not be triggered by this word. It was more like understand that this word is not a malicious word. Now, of course, someone can use it to be malicious, but that's with any word. I can call you intelligent,
definitely,
in an offensive way if that's what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? If I tell you, you're no more intelligent than the rest of the people in this room, I'm calling you intelligent, but it's in an insulting way. So what I wanted people to kind of understand from that whole thing is that the word albino is just how the English language works, which is you make a shorter word to stand for a longer word so that it rolls off the tongue faster and better. So for example, you look at the word athleticism. It's too much to say, hey, John has a lot of athleticism. It's more easier and quicker to just say John is athletic. You know what I mean? And that's how the word albino really is. It's just an abbreviated way to say albinism, because to say, hey, Maya has albinism is not as quick off the tongue as to say Maya is albino.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I get what you were trying to do. And I will tell you this, the word albino actually comes from the root word albinus. What happened is there was this European traveler came to West Africa, saw that there was a tribe of Africans, and within this tribe, they looked white. So he used the word albinus, meaning in Latin, white Negro, to coin the term that we have today, albino.
Wow.
Now, first of all, I never knew that. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's a history lesson. I'm definitely gonna have to research that because I never knew that. And then secondly, I'll
find it in Cincy.
Okay. And then secondly, I'll say if that is the case, I have no problem with that, because if the root of it is there was a tribe of albinism people that were found, and the word that they gave for it is white Negro, or back then, obviously Negro meaning a black person. So it just means white black person. I ain't got no problem with that. That's not offensive at all. I 100% am a white black person. Okay.
You guys know how do you know how the deaf community, they don't like to be referred to as hearing impaired. They want to be called I am deaf. They don't want to.
I would think anything's wrong with them. I would think it would be they don't want to be called deaf. They would rather be called hearing impaired. I would think it would be the opposite.
No, they're very adamant about it. So, and I think it's kind of that's how you visualize it. You're like, it's not a disability. It's just, this is who I am. And I think that's how you see it.
Well,
yeah, I'm an avid. Well, I will just.
The host does have to leave us, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and close out the show right now. So Jackie, if you haven't given your socials, or give the people your social medias where they can follow you, and we'll close out the show.
All right. Thanks, everybody. My Instagram is Ms. Pumpkin Pie with a PI, like the number.
Okay. We thank you for that. Thank you for joining our show today. And I also want to thank all of my supporters for purchasing all the Life with Albinism t-shirts. We are officially sold out of all Life with Albinism t-shirts. So thank you guys who's bought one, and we may make some more in the future. Who knows? But thank you guys for a wonderful episode, and take care.